I'm not gonna sit up under the camera. I wonder how many fucking meetings have gone that way lately. Oh, what's it? It means you gotta hit the print screen button and take a picture. You're not getting the forward. Okay, I get that. Okay, different station though, same company, same country, different province. Let's see what happens. All right, 10:31 in Toronto, supposedly. 4:31 in Cape Town and Johannesburg. 10:31 in Beijing. And it's 2:30. Is it really 2:31 a.m. on Friday in Auckland, New Zealand? Nice. Can we get some audio, please? CFFR, is that the name of your thing? CFFR. Okay, now we know. Couldn't capture screenshot, didn't think so. I'll just do it myself. Just gotta assemble it joint right here. So I don't know, I feel so, I keep feeling like I'm tired, and I'm not tired. I just don't have oxygen. So like in my mind, I'll go lay down. I said, but then what? My brain's like, okay, and then I can sit and think about, can you play audio, please? I keep pressing this.
When a recall happens, perfectly good food goes to waste.
Oh, it's lettuce. What is that? Hydroponic lettuce?
Now we've got a way around
What
it.
are you growing for us, IBM? I should really wipe out this mirror. What do you grow?
Blockchain on the IBM cloud helps pinpoint.
Well, I don't know. See, then this is so impractical. It works. I wouldn't care, but it doesn't. Smart. What? Loves problems. Smart loves problems. Let's put smart to work. Hey, you used to call me smart. IB, what's that? IB. Inbox me, right? IBM. Let's put smart to work. No, I'm
Business at 56. 6:50 news time, 8:31. Traffic and weather together all in the traffic center. Here's Tanya Blakeney.
Who?
It is no longer a collision-free ride. We do have a crash downtown, 5th Avenue eastbound, the one-way road near McLeod Trail. Middle right lane is blocked. You'll want to stay left to get around it. Again, volume here not terrible, so as long as you do stay left, you should be able to get through fairly easily. As we look at other routes around the city, we're in really good shape. Most of them bare and drying out from overnight rain. Still seeing cloud cover overhead, but that's not affecting anything on the ground. We've got McLeod Trail moving well northbound from Stone, your 22X, Road Southeast, Glenmore Trail, and then on towards the downtown. Your purchase over the Bow River from the north also moving well. 14th Street, 10th Street Northwest, the upper deck of the Center Street Bridge, and Edmonton Trails Reconciliation Bridge. If you spot something in the way, you can always let us know. It's a free call. It's star or pound 660. Traffic is brought to you by Budgeting for Baby. Learn about baby costs, car certificates, child tax benefits, RESPs, wills, and more in a free seminar on 29. Register at budgetingforbabies.com. Now with the weather forecast, here's Michelle Yee from Breakfast Television.
It is still cool this morning, and we are expecting that temperature to still be under average for this afternoon, but it is going to be mainly dry today. We are expecting a mix of sun and clouds now through the afternoon, wind picking up again, and we could see some light scattered showers, but tomorrow back to average. We're hitting a high of 20 degrees. Your high today is 17 degrees.
Right now, mostly cloudy and 10 degrees. 6:60 news time, 8:32.
Is Alberta getting a fair deal? Perhaps the question is, does anyone care? The panel considered 3 key topics: provincial police, Alberta Pension Fund, and making equalization payments fair.
660 Steve Kaiser joins us live with some reaction. It seems most of us aren't really worked up about it.
Well, Mike, 31% of Albertans support the idea of a provincial police force, 37% support an Alberta pension plan. Those numbers from a poll conducted in March by John Santos, a political data researcher.
No one's on fire about this stuff, and so I think to see a report come back from the Fair Deal panel committee where, less than half of people in most of these cases say that they think these things would make things better for Alberta shows that there isn't a lot of public appetite for these policies.
He says it's not just his research showing this, but there's been polling done by several companies over the last few years that shows people just aren't fired up about these kinds of policies, suggesting a cynic might see this as the UCP trying to control the anger and turn it into votes and political donations. Reporting live, I'm Safe Geyser.
Alberta RCMP issued a statement in response to the recommendation that Alberta introduce a new provincial police force. The statement says it will continue to prioritize the safety of and security of citizens in Alberta for as long as it has the privilege of being Alberta's provincial police service.
Well, Calgary Chamber of Commerce says the report would provide some certainty for business. The Chamber hosted a roundtable with the panel saying it is supporting several recommendations, including dismantling trade barriers between provinces. But the Chamber says it doesn't support creating an Alberta pension plan because that could adversely affect Albertans' financial security and create even more red tape.
660 News Time, 8:34. 6 people hurt Wednesday night after a dog attack in the city's northeast. Among the victims, a 10-year-old girl. Injuries for everyone considered minor. Calgary bylaw has the dog and says charges are pending against the owner.
Saying it wants to ensure tax dollars are being used responsibly, the Alberta government plans to take another look at the Green Line LRT. In a letter to Council, Transport Minister Rick McIver says the UCP government will review it. Council overwhelmingly approved the project Tuesday, but the city's own cost-benefit analysis even questions whether the project will provide good value for taxpayers. The province has committed $1.5 billion of the $5.5 billion price tag. Mayor Nenshi says he welcomes the review.
Alberta continues to see a rise in active COVID-19 cases, but the top doctor says the spread has been stable.
Active COVID-19 cases in Alberta now sit at 486, which is an increase of 31% over the past week. Edmonton is seeing a rise, now reporting 201 active infections, an increase from 190 on Tuesday. Alberta's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Dina Hinshaw, says the increase is a stark reminder that it's in Albertans' hands to prevent any further spread of the virus.
While we are seeing again this increase over the last few weeks in Edmonton, it's not to say that other places are immune, and it's just a reminder that all of us need to continue to practice all of those public health measures.
Overall, though, Hinshaw says the spread has been steady.
While we continue to test widely and identify some new cases daily, the spread of the virus remains relatively stable.
Alberta reported 48 new cases. No additional deaths were recorded. I'm Jeff Slack.
As Alberta waits to make a decision about kids returning to the classroom in September, the country's biggest children's hospital arguing kids should not be forced to wear masks. Sick Kids Toronto argues requiring masks may lead to more infection because the irritation with the mask would cause kids to touch their faces more. A health expert with the University of Toronto tells Postmedia the whole document reeks of the kind of approach that got us into trouble with long-term care facilities. Now, Alberta is supposed to make a decision in August on how schools will be handled.
All 4 federal Conservative leadership candidates struggled with the language in last night's French debate. 660's Alex Bloomfield has a recap ahead of tonight's English debate.
The 4 candidates given the subjects ahead of the debate, Derek Sloan and Leslyn Lewis, relying almost entirely on reading prepared statements.
Je me présente comme Premier Ministre. J'empêcherai.
The most heated moments occurring between McKay and O'Toole, the perceived frontrunners to replace Andrew Scheer. McKay trying to brand O'Toole as a candidate who's out of step with the mainstream on social issues and who would replicate some of the Liberal government's environmental policies. O'Toole calling McKay a career politician. Both Sloan and Lewis have been vocal in drumming up support among social conservatives. And they'll have the English debate tonight to try to get back on track after being mostly out of the debate last night in French. Party members have until August 21st now to cast their ballots by mail. From Alex Bloomfield.
The leader of the federal NDP booted from the House of Commons after accusing a Bloc MP of racism on the floor. Jagmeet Singh calling for a unanimous vote to say there is systemic racism in the RCMP and to review funding.
I'll be honest. Ready? I'm sad now. Because why can't we act?
The Quebec MP was the only member to vote against it.
Meanwhile, a former member of the NDP says a review of the RCMP is taking far too long to happen.
Former MP Nathan Cullen says he heard from many families who lost loved ones on the Highway of Tears in northern BC that there is a 2-tiered system in regards to the resources dedicated to an investigation depending on the victim's skin color.
There have just been too many incidents of poor investigations, no conclusions, recommendations not followed up, things not changing.
Calling out that being an RCMP officer is not an easy job.
You know, not everyone coming out of the depot, out of training in Saskatchewan for the RCMP should be a police officer. Some people aren't well suited to it. And it's a tough job. It's a job that's constantly changing. It requires more than just the ability to, you know, be big and strong. It takes a lot of smarts and a lot of determination and compassion.
He says oversight bodies such as ACERT in Alberta and the Independent Investigations Office of BC are steps forward, but more needs to be done nationally. I'm Craig Lester.
A lawsuit filed against the RCMP in Nova Scotia alleges the Mounties handled a shooting spree and its aftermath in a high-handed, self-serving, and disrespectful manner and is deserving of punishment. The Globe reports a suit currently signed by the families of 2 victims with the potential to grow. It says not only did the RCMP fail to contain the suspect, fail to warn the public, and fail to get help from other police organizations, it took too long to confirm deaths with families and was not transparent in how the victims were killed. The Mounties are not commenting on the suit, saying instead the force is focusing on the investigation.
The idea of a basic income has a fair bit of support among Canadians, but we're not really feeling like we should have to pay for it.
A poll from the Angus Reid Institute has found 3 in 5 people across the country support the idea of a basic income, anywhere between 10 and 30 grand, but they don't want to see their taxes go up to pay for it, since it would cost between 15 and 90 billion a year. Most Canadians think the funds should come from the wealthier set. They are less than enthused about that. Conversation over basic income has been thrust back into the spotlight as millions of Canadians take advantage of federal aid programs during the COVID crisis. In April, the Liberals turned down the idea from the NDP to turn CERB into a universal benefit. I'm Dean Rexeven.
And we are 60 seconds away from a look at traffic and weather together on the one. 6:60 news time, 8:40.
Hi, my name is Jim Matthews. In 1990, I co-founded LeaseBusters for Canadian leasing customers. Get out of your vehicle lease with ease, confidence, and a LeaseBusters leasing specialist to guide you through the journey. Go to leasebusters.com to start the process today.
Buying a new car? Have you done all the vehicle research on the manufacturer's or a dealer's website? Don't forget to do your pricing research at carcostcanada.com. Get a car cost price report to learn the fully discounted price of that new car at carcostcanada.com.
The news never stops, and neither do we. 660 News is Calgary's only live 24-hour newsroom. Breaking news is announced, traffic and weather every 10 minutes on the watch. When you need to know, you can trust 660 News on air, online, and on your smart speaker.
6:60 news time, 8:41. Traffic and weather together.
Oh, I bet that would have been faster if I turned the sound off. I wonder if it'll reload and then just start playing since it's the same script, or if it'll totally... No, of course not. Maybe. Wait a second. Volume control disappears. Okay, there's no volume control for this for some reason. Come on. The cookies are on. You should see a cookie. Oh, I guess it's a different server name. You guys are geniuses. Different server names. And that makes no sense. What the fuck is that? Reveal your family's past. How come those are all white people in weird clothes? It's not even black and white. That's like sepia or just brown and stuff. Except for this. No, on the back. How's the back? Come on, IBM. Show us something weird and creepy. Your data is protected. The only reason I can read it is because it's hanging up. Your AI is built in. Your AI is anywhere, really? They got the weirdest fucking ads.
Sunshine, the guaranteed high 29 will feel like 33. For tonight, clear and 16, still comfortable for sleeping. Mainly sunny tomorrow, slight chance of showers mainly north GTA. High 30 will feel like 34. For today, the guaranteed high 29.
It's sunny and 22 degrees right now in downtown Toronto. Out at Pearson, a few clouds in 23. 680 News Time, 10:43.
Now the Scotia iTrade Market Minute, live from the Business Center. Here's Chris McCusker.
Well, Sarah, Sarah, that TSX right now is the best performer in North America, up by 61 points, 15,489. That is still a modest gain of 0.4%. The Dow, though, is down 24, the S&P up by 5, and the NASDAQ higher by 14. Price for gold is lower by $10, $17.25. Oil up by 34 cents, 38.30 a barrel. And the Canadian dollar going the other way. It's down 6/100ths, 73.66 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get started in 3 easy steps and begin your investing journey from home today. Learn more at scotiaitrade.com.
I'm here with Sandra Coy of Coy Brothers, and we're talking about all the things our dads are good at.
My dad's a good golfer.
I imagine Bill's a good boss, too.
How could I forget my 15 years of pure bliss working by his side?
You know what I'm not good at? Remembering to get my dad a Father's Day gift.
Get him a steel chainsaw for $199.95. Good around the house and the cottage.
With ideas like that, I'm sure you're Bill's favorite.
I am.
Get your dad a steel chainsaw from the pros at Coy Bros.
KOOYBROS.com.
You're invited to come meet the Volvo of Toronto team that will turn your summer into the summer of Volvo. Volvo of Toronto is waiving the first 3 payments when you lease select in-stock 2020 models, including the XC90, a beautiful blend of performance and technology. Or save an additional $1,000 when you finance or pay cash. Remember, Volvo of Toronto is here for you with exceptional service, even in difficult times. Visit Volvo of Toronto, downtown near Cherry and Front, or volvooftoronto.com.
News Radio, 680 News.
With a sunny sky in downtown Toronto, it's 24 degrees. Good morning from the 680 News Broadcast Center. I'm Sarah Parrott.
And I'm Steve Roberts. Here are the top stories right now.
Well, the Ford government is expected to detail an enhanced COVID-19 case and contact management strategy today. It comes as the province continues to see a decline in the number of new cases, 173 reported today. Parts of the GTA will move into stage 2 of reopening tomorrow, and that means malls in Durham, York, and Halton regions are getting ready to open their doors for the first time in months. Lots of rules will be in place for shoppers. That includes food courts being takeout only. Time for 680 Sports. It's brought to you by Dodd's Garage Doors from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Andrew Nye.
Morning, Sarah. Major League Baseball has submitted a new offer to the players, but no deal yet. Commissioner Rob Manfred met with Union head Tony Clark on Tuesday and believed the framework for a deal was there. The offer is 60 games, full prorated salaries, universal DH, and expanded playoffs. The Union was quick to inform there's no deal yet. Shai Davidi tells Good Show now they can actually find a middle ground where before they were on completely divergent roads. We shall see. The Toronto Marlies have re-signed forward Hudson Elliott to a 1-year AHL contract, while Chelsea has signed German striker Timo Werner from Leipzig in the first major move of the summer transfer market. Off to Hilton Head for round 1 of the RBC Heritage. 6 Canadians in the field, only Roger Sloan on course, and he just put up an 8 on the par 5 15th. He's now 2 over through 6. There is currently a 5-way tie for the lead at 4 under. Harris English, Vaughn Taylor, Matt Neesmith, Ian Poulter, and Ernie Els, who is 4 under through 8. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
This just into 680 News. A woman in her 60s is being taken to a trauma center after being struck by a vehicle in the Upper Beaches area. This happened at Woodbine Avenue and Corley Avenue. That's north of Kingston. Paramedics say the woman suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Stay with 680 News for more on this developing story.
680 News Time, 10:47.
The big summer sale has arrived at Dodge Garage Doors. Save hundreds of dollars on garage doors with our summer blowout sale. Buy Canada's top quality Dodge store now and get 0% financing from Dodge Garage Doors. That's right, 0% financing. Offer ends June 30th. Save now.
Dodge, D-O-D-E-S. Remember, no one does it better than Dodge does. No!
Rides for the kids big and small, exciting animal exhibits, and great spots for families to picnic, where Greenland has it all. They're opening soon and can't wait to see your family having fun at the park this summer. Visit greenland.ca to learn more about the reopening plans for 2020.
website
680
doesn't
News
work
Time,
with your
1048.
player. Period.
Contact tracing in the COVID-19 pandemic will be the focus for the Prime Minister as he provides his regular briefing this morning. Here's our Parliament Tail reporter, Cormac McSweeney.
The Prime Minister has promised to recommend an app that provinces should use to improve contact tracing when someone tests positive for COVID-19, and that's what we're expecting today. I'm told Justin Trudeau will be discussing exposure notification. The feds have already offered thousands of federal employees to help provinces with calls, but an app may be more convenient and a quick way to notify people. This requires the buy-in of provinces, with experts saying the best results come if everyone's on the same system. Meanwhile, racism in the House of Commons in focus after NDP leader Jagmeet Singh was ejected from the House after accusing a Bloc Québécois MP of being racist. For blocking a motion on systemic racism in the RCMP, Singh refused to apologize. But now BQ leader Yves-François Blanchet says his MP and party are not racist, and he wants Singh to apologize.
And if not, I hope the president of the House of Commons will be quite severe.
The Prime Minister also expected to address Canada losing its campaign for a seat on the Security Council of the United Nations, and he may be questioned about a PBO report that states this year's federal deficit could hit $256 billion. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
680 News Time, 10:50. Beijing, Brazil, and Germany. Our coverage of the pandemic continues with 680's Laura Carney, who joins us with the latest international developments. In Beijing, health authorities now reporting close to 160 confirmed cases since a new outbreak was detected last week at a large wholesale market. Beijing reporting 21 cases today, down from 31 yesterday. CNN's Anna Corin.
With the most alarming, a 22-year-old man who works as a dishwasher in a hotel. He has no travel history, nor has he come into contact with any confirmed or suspected cases.
Brazil reporting another 32,000 new COVID-19 cases today, bringing the total to just over 955,000 as the second hardest hit country in the world appears poised to surpass the 1 million mark this weekend. BBC's Katie Watson is in Sao Paulo.
We've got scientists here deeply concerned that with such little testing in the country that the real figures are far higher than the official statistics suggest.
In Germany, Chancellor Angela Merkel says social distancing rules will stay in place and the ban on large events will be extended until at least the end of October to curb a potential second wave of infections. And in New Zealand, which just a few days ago was COVID-free, now reporting a third new case. I'm Laura Carney.
680 News Time, 10:51.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Jordan Kerr.
This report is brought to you by Lexus of Richmond Hill. On the eastbound 401, problems east of Dixie and the collectors have cleared. We have a delay through Dixon, and then from Weston Express and collectors to the 400 ramps. A new issue east 401 approaching Avenue Road and the Express. The left lane's blocked off with a stalled vehicle. MTO on scene, that's causing a bunch up east of the Allen and the Express towards Avenue Road. No delay in the collector lanes. And then east of the GTA, it is jammed east 401 from the Port Hope en route to approaching Toronto Road as you go into Port Hope, all because of paving in the two left lanes once again today. And again, Highway 2 is a good alternate. Make sure you plan ahead. Westbound on the 401 from Harmony to Ritson, left lane closed for construction. No delay this time. There's a bunch up on the ramp from the collectors to the 410 and 403, all because of single lane long-term construction. And then West 401 is heavy approaching here Ontario and the collectors to Mavis. Now westbound on the 407, they're in the process of closing down the ramp to the westbound 401, all because of construction. That's going to be closed off till 3 o'clock this afternoon. On the westbound QEW, west of Winston Churchill to west of Ford Drive, the left lane's closed for construction. It's now flowing through that construction zone. And westbound 403, west of Highway 6 North, two left lanes are closed for construction. It's jammed from just west of Waterdown. Delays westbound on Finch from approaching North Finch over the 400 to Signet Drive, all because of construction through there. The demonstrator event is on now at Lexus of Richmond Hill. Shop online to view these incredible offers in the comfort of your own home. Only at lexusofrichmondhill.com. Next report 11:01 with the forecasters, Jill Taylor.
Day 7 with lots of sunshine, just a slight chance of showers as we work through the next couple of days, but really not a whole lot of precipitation. The guaranteed high 29 will feel like 33. For tonight, clear and 16. And tomorrow, the slight chance of those showers, mainly north GTA, the high 30 will feel like 34. Summer arrives Saturday evening, 5:43. Plenty of sunshine, slight chance of showers, and about the same story for Sunday, Father's Day. For today, the guaranteed high 29.
Right now in downtown Toronto, it's sunny and 24. Out at Pearson Airport right now, it's sunny as well. And it looks like we're sitting at a temperature of 25. 680 News Time, 10:53.
This extended forecast is brought to you by Walmart. Now at Walmart, save $1.53 on a tub of Parlor ice cream. Now only $2.44. That's another reason why grocery bills are lower at Walmart.
So, our mortgage approval is done?
Great news. The bank has approved you at a 2.39% rate.
What the what? That's way too high. Butler Mortgage is 1.92%.
Well, it cannot be the same as our bank's mortgage.
It's totally the same. 5 years, fixed rate, same features, no fees, 1.92%. I'm switching to Butler Mortgage. Enough of making the banks rich.
License number 12118, high ratio fixed rate APR 1.93%.
680 News Time, 10:54. Well, a scathing new book from one of his former top advisors accuses U.S. President Donald Trump of being guided by re-election concerns when making national security decisions.
John Bolton says he's hard-pressed to come up with any important decision the president made during his time in the White House that was not driven by re-election calculations. He's alleging the president pleaded with China's leader to help his second-term prospects. Echoes of the Ukraine affair that led to impeachment.
The White House is working. The fucking soybeans was in the fucking news, man. No, you can't share if you're fucking. If it's not, probably gonna get taken to some Chinese redirect that's gonna steal my computer's identity. So it's not a real way. Why do I always check the phone jack like that? I can't remember. This isn't working, so I don't think I have the right one.
Regain your spontaneity with GainsWave Therapy. Consultation at oakwoodhealth.com. That's oakwoodhealth.com.
680 News Time, 10:56. Now the 680 News Business Report. Here's Chris McCusker.
Well, Sarah, we do continue to see fluctuation on Bay and Wall Street, although the move's quite modest again today. Bay Street right now is higher by 39 points, 15,468, and that's even with gold down by $8, 17.27. Oil is higher by 42 cents. 38.38 a barrel, and the Canadian dollar right now is down by 9/100, 73.63 cents US. So we're a little less than 2 weeks away from USMCA or the new NAFTA going into effect. That happens on July the 1st. Doug Porter is chief economist at the Bank of Montreal.
Realistically, for the economy as a whole, there shouldn't be a big change. My concern is how protectionism is sort of rumbling away again in many areas, not just in the U.S., mostly in the U.S., but we're seeing lots of talk, and even between Canada and the U.S., there's some talk about them taking a long look at our metal shipments again, and even though we've got the USMCA in place officially, that doesn't mean we're free of protectionist forces from the U.S.
So Air Canada's bid for Transat is on hold. This comes after European regulators stopped the clock on their formal review with no reason given for the move. The EU opened an in-depth probe into this proposed deal last month, saying that it could hamper competition by combining the two biggest airlines linking Europe and Canada. Now, at the same time today, there are now 27 companies urging the Prime Minister and the Premiers to ease air travel restrictions. That call started last week with the CEO of Air Canada. Right now, shares in Air Canada by 1% to 18.94 a share. Stock in Transat going the other way, down 1.4% to $6.20 a share.
Excuse me. The fuck?
On Wall Street, the Dow is now higher. It's only up by 6. The Nasdaq higher by 32, and the S&P down a single point. Again, the TSX higher by 56, 15,484. I'm Chris McCusker. Business continues at 26 and 56 or anytime at 680news.com.
This is your breaking news station, 680 News.
Hi, it's Tony Chapman, host of the podcast Chatter That Matters. Thanks to the incredible support of RBC, we're focusing on the part of the Canadian economy, small businesses. Francois Ontario owns Sur Monsieur, made-to-measure menswear. Jeannie Becker, international fashion expert, says he's missing half the market.
Women are really creating these well-constructed quality uniforms now. It's never right. You can never get something to fit right.
It's been on the radar for a long time, but I think it's also getting improved to the brand.
Download Chatter That Matters wherever you get your podcasts. And thanks again to RBC for your support of Small Business Matters.
Weather forecast you can bank on, because if we're off by more than 3 degrees,
You can win our growing cash jackpot. The 680 News Weather Guarantee. Enter online at 680news.com.
taking a look at some regional weather conditions. In Richmond Hill, it's sunny, 24 degrees. Niagara Falls, a few clouds, 25. Oakville, sunny and 23. Newmarket, sunny and 25. Downtown Toronto, it's sunny, 24 degrees. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 11 o'clock.
For breaking news, traffic, and weather, this is 680 News, Toronto.
Here are Steve Roberts and Sarah Perry.
Well, good morning. It's Thursday, the 18th of June.
Good morning. Here's what's making news this hour.
There's light at the end of the tunnel as Ontario moves to extend its state of emergency for what could be the last time, while today the government will detail a new strategy for case and contact management.
A woman in her 60s has been taken to a trauma center after being struck by a vehicle this morning in the Upper Beaches.
The Prime Minister speaking in moments, set to make an announcement to improve COVID-19 contact tracing as debate grows around racism accusations in the House of Commons.
And Canada surpasses a major milestone in the COVID pandemic. Details in just moments.
Baseball and its players try to find the middle ground as they work towards a possible deal. And the Marlies re-up one of their own, Sports at 15.
Still got modest moves in both directions on Bay and Wall Street. The price for oil is moving higher, and a big bounce today for shares in Spotify. Business at 26.
City News time, 11:01.
Time now for traffic and weather together on One's Jordan Kerr.
Well, this report is brought to you by Mark Feldstein and Associates. A couple of issues on the go. On the eastbound 401, first of all, it's busy through Dixon, then from Islington Express, Weston Collectors to the 400 ramps. We had an issue approaching Avenue in the Express. That's cleared away, but there's still a delay from the Allen to east of it in the Express. A new issue, eastbound 401, approaching Yonge at the end of the transfer that goes into the Express in the right lane. We've got a stalled vehicle. And then eastbound 401, east of Brimley in the Express, we have the right lane blocked off all because of a police investigation.
And happening right now, let's go live to Ottawa and the Prime Minister.
This is one of them. I want to take a moment to talk about our work on the planet. As Canadians know, we embarked on this journey 4 years ago now.
What the fuck?
We decided to throw our hat in the ring because we saw a unique opportunity to engage with our partners across the UN, build sustainable peace, and make real progress on issues that matter. And that's what we've gotten to do during this campaign. We forged new partnerships, we strengthened existing friendships, and we laid a solid foundation for an even greater collaboration in the future. And that's never been more critical. Now, more than ever, global cooperation is crucial not only to defeat the virus, but to address the great challenges of our time, challenges that transcend borders. growing our economies, mitigating the impacts of climate change, building a lasting peace, advancing gender equality, protecting our citizens. We have to engage with partners to achieve these goals. Getting this seat was never an end in itself, but rather a means to an end. A means to ensure that our voice was heard and that our values upheld on the world stage. The bid was certainly one way to achieve this, but it's far from the only way. Moving forward, Canadians can count on us to keep working with our partners to make progress internationally on issues that matter to them. Je tiens tout d'abord à féliciter tous les nouveaux membres non permanents du Conseil de sécurité des Nations Unies. Et bien que le Canada n'en fasse pas partie, je voudrais prendre un moment pour parler du travail qu'on a accompli à cet égard. Comme les Canadiens le savent, on travaille sur ce dossier depuis 4 ans. On a décidé de déposer notre candidature parce qu'on y voyait une occasion unique de collaborer avec nos partenaires au sein des Nations Unies, de bâtir une paix durable et de réaliser des progrès concrets sur des enjeux qui comptent pour le Canada. Et c'est ce qu'on a fait pendant notre campagne. On a forgé de nouveaux partenariats, on a resserré nos liens d'amitié et on a préparé le terrain pour accroître la coopération à venir. Et ça n'a jamais été aussi important. Aujourd'hui, plus que jamais, la coopération mondiale est essentielle non seulement pour vaincre le virus, mais aussi pour relever les grands
défis. To defeat the virus, but also to transcend challenges which do not know borders. We need to work with our partners for economic growth, fight against climate change, install a durable peace, and protect our citizens. So it's never been, this seat at the UNSC has never been an end in itself, but rather a means to reach an end. But we'll keep defending our values on the world scene and world stage. So a seat at the UNSC was one of the means and one of the ways to do it, but there are many other ways. Canadians can count on us to continue our work with our partners to move forward important issues.
We're starting to reopen parts of the economy, and that's welcome news for everyone. But as we start loosening some restrictions, we also have to strengthen other measures so that we don't lose the progress we've made. As some people start heading back to work, testing and contact tracing is crucial. That's why we've been working with the provinces and territories to ensure that they have everything they need to keep people safe and healthy. And today, we're taking an important step forward toward containing the virus and safely restarting the economy, led by the Canadian Digital Service and with the help of Shopify, BlackBerry, and the Government of Ontario. We've been working on a nationwide mobile app that will notify users if they've been exposed to COVID-19. We will soon begin testing this app in Ontario. There are already a number of other provinces, including BC, who are working with us on this, but it will be available to everyone in the coming weeks. Premier Ford will have more to say on how the app will work in Ontario later today, but I want to thank him and his government for their leadership and partnership. Now, I want to stress that this app will be completely voluntary. It'll be up to individual Canadians to decide whether to download the app or not. But the app will be most effective when as many people as possible have it. Here's how it's going to work. If you test positive for COVID-19, a healthcare professional will help you upload your status anonymously to a national network. Other users who have the app and have been in proximity to you will then be alerted that they've been exposed to someone who's tested positive. The notification will encourage them to reach out to their local public health authorities. At no time will personal information be collected or shared, and no location services will be used. The privacy of Canadians will be fully respected. Aujourd'hui,
Today, we are moving one step forward in our containment of the virus and the reopening of our economy. And this is led by the Canadian Digital Service in cooperation with Shopify, BlackBerry, and the Ontario government. And we are developing a mobile app throughout the country, which will inform all users and determine whether they have been exposed to COVID-19. The app will be soon tested in Ontario and several provinces, including BC, are working with us, and the app will be made available throughout Canada over the next few weeks. This app will be entirely voluntary, not compulsory, but the more people we use it, the more people will download it, the more efficient it will be. Here is how it's going to work. If you test positive to COVID-19, a health professional will help you upload anonymously your status on the national network, and all the users who have the app and who've been close to you will be alerted to the fact that they have been in touch with somebody who's tested positive, and they will be encouraged to get in touch with the local health authorities. But no personal individual information will be shared, and no system will be used in order to detect where you are, geographical location. And for the last few weeks, we've been reopening our economy. However, our restart is fraught with difficulties for several sectors. I'm talking about the cultural industry. And from the beginning, our government has had the backs of artists and all the workers in this area. And the Canada Council for the Arts has estimated to $2.5 billion the amounts given to the arts and cultural sector through the Canadian Emergency, the CERD, and other benefits. And we've been also helping sports, and today we are opening an online portal to speed up these requests, and people will be able to apply on the government sites for such benefits. We are moving forward, but we know that there's a lot of work to do, and over the last few months our museums has lost a lot of income, which is a threat to the jobs of many people. This is why our government has decided to invest $25.7 billion additional investment for the purpose of helping 7 national museums throughout the country, because our museums tell our stories, they pay tribute to our artists, and they enrich our communities, and people who work there are protecting our Canadian heritage and enable us to discover the people who brought our country forward.
Monitoring the spread of the virus, its impacts on our economy, and making the right adjustments along the way. We're going to keep listening to Canadians and look for other ways to support them as the situation evolves. I'm happy now to take your questions.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll now go to the phones first for questions. One question, one follow-up. Over to you, operator.
Thank you. Merci. Première question, Raymond Fillon, TVA.
First question, Raymond Fillon, TVA. You have the phone. Please go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. The UNSC, he said Canada is back. But yesterday you garnered less votes than the Harper government did. How can you explain that? Answer. Well, for many years, we do what we have to do throughout the planet for the purpose of defending Canadian interests, whether it be in the field of climate change, or whether it be in the help to more vulnerable countries, or whether it be gender equality. So Canada, for a number of years, is much more active on the international stage. We would have liked to be able to speak even more effectively by being a member of the UNSC. However, we have taken stock of the positive impact that Canada has internationally. This is not what I was hoping for as a result, but we will keep our commitment and engagement for the future and over the next few few years.
How the fuck? I thought
Follow-up
you said
question?
AC, now they have two.
You're not answering my question. How do you explain the fact that Canada has received less votes and failed in this attempt to which you devoted a lot of time? So people think that you haven't improved Canada's reputation. Answer. We knew when we entered the race that our two competitors, Norway and Ireland, whose representatives I called, by the way, yesterday and this morning in order to congratulate them, had started their campaign 4 or 5 years before we did. We only entered the race 4.5 years ago ourselves. So we were lagging behind and we didn't make it in time. We are certainly disappointed. However, we did a lot of things internationally on the international stage, and that's reaped a lot of benefits for Canada and for the world. And we will continue working with our partners and new friends in order to defend multilateralism, because the world is going through a time of instability, world instability.
Obviously, we would have hoped for a different result yesterday. We've worked very, very hard over these past years to deepen our friendships and create new partnerships on really big issues, from climate change to help for the most vulnerable to women's equality to a range of other issues that is moving the world forward in ways that matter to Canadians both here at home and around the world. Obviously, I was pleased to be able to call Ireland and Norway last night and this morning to congratulate them for a well-run campaign and commit to them that we were going to continue to work with them on all our shared values on the world stage. But the reality was coming in 5 years later than them gave us a delay that we unfortunately weren't able to overcome. I was hoping we would, and we certainly worked hard to do it, but what we were able to do over the few years with this campaign was strengthen and deepen many, many ties and the impact that Canada has around the world in particularly turbulent times. We will remain committed to multilateralism, to engaging constructively and positively in the world, because it's something that matters to Canadians, and it also matters to many, many countries around the world, that Canada continues to be present and defending multilateralism.
Thank you. Next question, operator.
Thank you. Merci. Next question, Dylan Robertson, Winnipeg Free Press. Line open.
Good morning, Prime Minister. I wanted to ask about the lack of disaggregated data about our economic recovery. Statistics Canada recently suspended its job vacancy and wage survey because its resources are being stretched so thin. That project's existed for for years. It's been much more detailed than the labor force survey. Your departments are also not publishing any data on how the CERB, the wage subsidy, or the commercial rent subsidy are being taken up by province or by gender. This recovery differs by region, but it seems like we're flying blind. So I'm wondering if you're going to divert resources so we can actually measure the recovery more precisely.
We know that solid data is the foundation for making the right public policy decisions. This is a very difficult time with COVID-19, where we've had to set up new systems and adjust old systems to better respond, and our focus every step of the way needed to be on getting the help out to Canadians. But at the same time, we've been working closely with Statistics Canada on collecting better data, and we've been working also with the provinces to enable them to get data that is able to be collated at the federal level. We know that we need better data, we need more disaggregated, race-based data, and this is what we continue to work on right now. There's still, as you point out, much improvement to be made, but we are very much focused on understanding how we're doing so that we can get through this even better.
Pencil and eraser years of Canada.
Follow up, Dylan? And Prime Minister, I wanted to talk about police forces under provincial jurisdiction. The Winnipeg police have shot and killed 3 Indigenous people in recent months. They were filmed last week kicking a man while he was held down. Your Minister, Dan Vandel, said he's revolted by these incidents, that little has changed over 2 decades in Winnipeg, and he said that your government needs to lead the way in combating what he calls police brutality. So I'm wondering what action you'll take beyond the RCMP, and if you'll be pressing Premier Pallister on this in your call this evening.
Last week and certainly again tonight, we will be talking about our shared responsibility over various police services across this country and the need to address systemic racism that exists in all of our institutions, including all of our police forces. That's why I know that it can't just be a federal issue, although there is plenty for us to do at the federal side. We do need to work with all partners on this, and that's why we're going to continue to talk not just about making strong statements about committing to fight systemic discrimination within our jurisdictions, but we're also going to be talking about concrete actions that need to be taken at different levels of government right across the country in order to make sure that racialized Canadians and Indigenous Canadians don't continue to suffer the kind of daily lived reality of discrimination that is all too common.
Walk down the street with me for the last day.
Tonight we'll be holding a conversation with my colleagues, the premiers, regarding the various jurisdictions and our collective responsibility at the various levels of government for the purpose of bringing about the necessary changes. The federal government has a lot to do, but the federal government has also levers which can be pulled for the purpose of moving forward. But we need to cooperate with the other levels of government. This is what we'll be doing, not only to make a commitment to help the situation, but also to decide what concrete action will be taken in order to improve the situation against daily discrimination for some Canadians.
Thank you. Next question, Christy Kirkham, the Globe and Mail. Line open.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Do you believe the RCMP disproportionately uses force against Indigenous peoples, and if so, why?
I think we've seen data that suggests that Indigenous people are at greater risk of mistreatment or excessive force used by police services, including the RCMP across the country. And that's just a clear and vivid illustration of systemic racism, systemic discrimination that exists within our country and across a range of institutions. We need to work hard to address this, to change the protocols. I've had conversations with the commissioner of the RCMP on this. I know I'm going to have the opportunity to speak with provincial premiers tonight on what we can do in various police forces across this country. This is something we do need to address, and soon and rapidly.
We do recognize that it is true that Indigenous people and racialized Canadians are more often the object of aggression or mistreatment on the part of police brutality, and we need to address this problem of systemic racism, and this is why I've held a dialogue with the RCMP commissioner, and I will do it again with the provinces in order to better protect people in Canada coming from minority backgrounds.
And Prime Minister, there are now calls for an independent investigation to be launched by your government of the RCMP's conduct, including its use of force against Indigenous peoples. Is your government on board?
As I've said many times, we are going to be taking strong, bold, concrete actions to go at systemic discrimination in this country, and that includes measures within our justice system, measures around policing, but also measures around economic opportunity and community supports. There is a range of things that we need to do to counter systemic discrimination, the lived reality of far too many racialized and Indigenous Canadians who suffer every single day. We need to do much more, and that's why we are working with them to establish rapidly the concrete actions we're going to move forward with shortly.
Thank you. And we'll take one more question on the phone. Operator.
Thank you. Merci. Prochaine question, il reste le devoir.
Il reste le devoir. Good morning, Mr. Trudeau. You'll be having a conversation with premiers tonight. where there is systemic racism. Mr. Legault, the Premier of Quebec, rejects the idea that there is systemic racism. And yesterday, Mr. Singh protested yesterday in the House against the fact that there was a refusal to recognize systemic racism in the House. Is this your stand as well? Answer. First of all, I'm very disappointed to see that the Bloc Québécois refuses to recognize the fact that there is systemic racism in Canada. I believe the first step is to admit and acknowledge the fact that there is a problem. And I hope that the Bloc Québécois and other institutions at various levels of government will acknowledge the fact that there is systemic racism in order to address it. Now, relative as to what Mr. Singh stated, it's not for me to tell a racialized Canadian that he should not make people ill at ease when he makes statements regarding racism and discrimination. Too many Canadians are the victims of racialization and racism. So this is a critical conversation for us to hold if we want to move forward as a country.
It is disappointing that the Bloc Québécois continues to refuse to accept that systemic discrimination, systemic racism exists within our country, in every part of our country, and in all our institutions. Recognizing systemic discrimination is the important first step towards being able to address it and ensure better opportunities, outcomes, and lived realities for racialized Canadians and Indigenous Canadians, particularly. In regards to what Mr. Singh said, it is not for me to criticize any Canadian, particularly not the only racialized leader in the House of Commons, for making other people uncomfortable by calling them out for not recognizing systemic discrimination. I think we need to recognize that these conversations are going to make people uncomfortable. But it has been the lived reality of racialized and Indigenous Canadians for far too long. And we need to continue to move forward in a way that attempts to bring people together. But yes, we are going to make some people uneasy with recognizing things have to change.
And you've been listening to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in his daily briefing here on 680 News. The Prime Minister starting off his briefing today talking about the disappointment in not securing a non-permanent spot on the United Nations Security Council, saying, though, that he will continue to push for Canadian causes on the world stage. He also mentioned, as people get back to work, contact tracing will be key, and today we are taking an important step forward by launching a nationwide mobile app that will notify users if they have been exposed to COVID-19. That's in tandem with the Ontario government. We'll have the very latest on what else the Prime Minister had to say coming up at 11:30.
680 News Time, 11:25.
Hi, I'm Cherry Tabb, co-founder of the Herzog Eye Institute, announcing full patient care has resumed. While we were closed, we instituted new technology that removes airborne impurities as microscopic as viruses, meaning surgically clean air through our entire facility. Google high-definition vision. Watch a video explaining all our safety measures. Call us for a consultation. There's no charge. Herzog Eye Institute is prepared. You're protected. Look after yourself. Promise me.
Make the most of what comes next with a bank account that gives you more. With the Scotiabank Ultimate Package, you can get a boost to your savings, unlimited Interac e-transfer transactions, and a $300 welcome bonus. So make the most of what comes next with the Scotiabank Ultimate Package. For a limited time, conditions apply. Visit scotiabank.com/ultimate300. Scotiabank. News Time, 11:26.
Time now for the 680 News Business Report. It's brought to you today by Baby D Drops. Let's check in with Chris McCusker at the Business Center. Chris, you're keeping an eye on shares in Spotify this morning.
Yeah, the stock hit an all-time high, Steve, and it continues to see a healthy gain. Right now, it's up by about 11% to 21.42, going as high as 221.49. The music streaming and media services provider has cut a deal with DC Comics for new podcasts. So that means Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman will soon have their own exclusive narrative audio series. Spotify says the partnership is the first to involve the entire DC universe. There is no word on when the first podcast will air. The Dow right now is down 13 points. The S&P up by 3, and the Nasdaq's higher for a 5th straight day, higher by 36 points, 9,947. And we did hear from the U.S. Fed chair over the last 2 days, and markets seemingly liked what they heard. Doug Porter is chief economist at the Bank of Montreal.
To some extent, it was almost comical that he said the Fed didn't want to be an elephant in the markets, stomping on, on things. But the reality is the Fed is having a very outsized effect on almost all markets. Of course, they're not directly involved in the equity market, but their now direct purchases of corporate bonds has had an effect in helping stabilize equities over the past week after that dramatic drop last Thursday.
Now on this side of the border, the TSX is higher by 49 points, 15,478. Gold is down by $5, $17.30. We've got oil higher by 52 cents, $38.48 a barrel. And the Canadian dollar down by 9/100, 73.63 cents US. Wholesale sales in Canada fell by a record 21.6% to $49.8 billion in April. In fact, StatsCan says wholesale sales fell to their lowest level since July of 2013 as all 7 subsectors recorded lower sales for the first time since November 2008. I'm Chris McCusker. This is 680 News.
Being a new mom isn't easy, but hugging's easy. Loving's easy. And baby D-drops are easy too. Simply apply just 1 drop when baby feeds. There's no taste, so it doesn't interfere with feeding. Pediatricians recommend vitamin D daily for breastfed infants. Baby D-drops, a sunshine vitamin in just 1 drop.
Ontario, you're making a difference to keep people safe from COVID-19, and we all need to continue our efforts to protect each other. Get tested if you're worried you may have COVID-19 or have been exposed to the virus. Practice physical distancing. Stay 2 meters apart. Wear a face covering when physical distancing is a challenge, and continue to wash hands frequently, inside or out. Stay safe. Save lives. Learn more at ontario.ca/coronavirus. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
Jill Taylor's latest forecast for today. Plenty of sunshine with a guaranteed high of 29. It's going to be clear and mild tonight, down to 16. And tomorrow we're looking at plenty of sunshine. Chance of some showers late in the day, though, with a high near 30. Right now in Toronto, it is sunny and 24. 680 News Time, 11:30.
#1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Here are Sarah Paris and Steve Roberts. Good morning. It's Thursday, June 18th.
And good morning. Here's what's making news this hour.
The Prime Minister announces a new national contact tracing app to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. The voluntary app will be tested in Ontario before a national rollout in the coming weeks.
A new strategy for improved tracing of COVID-19 cases will be announced by the province today as the Ford government eyes the middle of July as another major step in Ontario's reopening.
It's almost time to go back to the mall. God, I love the mall. It's where the stores live. Some GTA malls will reopen their doors tomorrow, but shopping in the time of a pandemic will come with a whole new set of protocols.
The emergency response benefit has gotten many of us through the pandemic, prompting calls for Canada to test a universal basic income. A new Angus Reid poll finds many of us would support the idea.
Major League Baseball and the players remain at odds, but appear to be headed the right direction. And we'll have an update from Hilton Head Sports at 45.
The Dow trying to move higher, while the Nasdaq's higher for a 5th straight day, and Bay Street holding on to a modest gain. Business at 56.
680 News Time, 11:31.
Time for traffic and weather together all at once. Here's Jordan Kerr.
And this report is brought to you by AGM Renovations. On the eastbound 401, it's getting busy east of Mississauga Road to east of Mavis. It's slow from Dixon to the 400 ramps, and both express and collectors, but it is slower in the express lanes. Watch out eastbound 401 approaching Young at the end of the transfer into the express on the right shoulder. We got a stalled vehicle, so just be careful through there. Again, no live lanes are blocked, but they're right on the shoulder. And then eastbound 401 east of the GTA is jammed, approaching the Port Hope en route all the way through to Toronto Road in Port Hope, where 2 left lanes are closed for paving. Just a nasty drive once again today. On the westbound 401 from Harmony to Ritson, left lane closed for construction, no delay at the moment. The collector ramps to the 410 and 403 are busy because of single lane construction, and then westbound 401 is slow west of Huron, Ontario collectors to approaching Mississauga Road. On the westbound 407, the ramp to the westbound 401 is closed off till 3 o'clock this afternoon, all because of construction work. Traffic spotter let us know about some tire debris on the northbound 400 approaching Bassboro Mills just before the ramp. Those 2 right lanes were affected with some big truck tire debris, so watch out for that. And on the westbound QEW, west of Winston Churchill to west of Fort Drive, the left lane is closed for construction. It's backed up from Winston Churchill. And westbound 403, west of Highway 6 North, 2 left lanes are closed for construction. It's jammed from Waterdown. How about the money you save staying at home, you spend on your home? How about you take this opportunity to finally finish the basement? Visit agmrenovations.com. Next report 11:41 with the forecast. Here's Jill Taylor.
Yet another day with lots of sunshine, the guaranteed high 29. It'll feel a bit warmer with the humidity for tonight.
Why the fuck have you not done that? You
for today, guaranteed high 29.
And right now in downtown Toronto, it's sunny and 24. We got some sunshine and 25 out in Pearson. 680 News Time, 11:33.
We have breaking news from Ottawa. There will soon be a national app to help with COVID-19 contact tracing in Canada.
With the latest details, our Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney.
Calling it an important step forward in stopping the spread of COVID-19, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announcing the feds are releasing an app that they've worked on with Shopify, BlackBerry, and the Ontario government. Trudeau says this will be a voluntary app, but it works better with more people using it. He explains how it will go down.
If you test positive for COVID-19, a healthcare professional will help you upload your status anonymously to a national network. Other users who have the app and have been in proximity to you will then be alerted that they've been exposed to someone who's tested positive.
There will be testing beginning soon in Ontario before the app rolls out across the country for privacy. The government will not be sharing personal information, and GPS locations will not be tracked. The Prime Minister also addressing Canada's loss at the UN Security Council seat campaign. He says that it will not deter Canada from continuing its efforts on the international stage. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Well, meantime, the Ford government is expected to talk about this new strategy for tracking new case information during today's daily briefing. This is Ontario reports fewer than 200 new COVID-19 cases for a 5th straight day. 680 Stuart McGinn joins us live with the latest. Stuart.
Sarah, we know this app has been developed here in Ontario by the Ford government, also in partnership with BlackBerry and Shopify. The app will be tested in this province on a voluntary basis before it's rolled out nationally. We'll hear more about this from the province in their 1 p.m. update with Premier Doug Ford, the Health Minister, and the Chief Medical Officer of Health. Meanwhile, across Ontario, we are just hours away from several cities joining the life of Stage 2.
More businesses are opening their doors. More people are going back to work and taking home a paycheck again. And we all know all of Ontario will join them very soon.
Ford is hoping the province can continue to make strides in the near future because while they're vying to extend the state of emergency to July 15th, there's a chance this could be the last extension that comes as Ontario has reported continued lower numbers of COVID-19 with 3 new deaths and 173 new cases today, while now just over 85% of the province's cases are resolved. Reporting live, Stuart McGinn, 680 News.
And we have an update now on the spread of coronavirus in this country. Canada now officially recording more than 100,000 cases of COVID-19 across Canada. The 173 new cases reported today in Ontario now pushing the overall tally past that major mark. Public health experts say widespread shutdown measures have been largely successful as this country has avoided its various healthcare systems being overwhelmed. But they say the 100,000 cases and more than 5,300 deaths largely concentrated concentrated in the country's long-term care facilities. Also suggests Canada missed out on some crucial opportunities to limit the spread of the virus early on.
It's been a long time coming, but visits to loved ones in long-term care homes are resuming today, but with some strict conditions. Here's 680's Carl Hansky.
It's been a long and anxious 3 months for those with parents or loved ones in long-term care homes and retirement homes, so being finally able to see them again in person is huge. But those coming for a visit must follow strict health and safety protocols, as this daughter found out.
You need to prove that you've tested negative for COVID within the last 14 days, and you have a schedule at 30 minutes. So as a family, you have to decide who's going to go get tested and who can have time to go.
Masks and physical distancing are must-follow rules, so no hugging. Other rules vary from home to home. Here at Grenadier Retirement Home in Bloor West, 2 visitors are allowed. Other homes allow only 1. So check the rules before you plan your visit. In Bloor West Village, I'm Carl Hansky.
You're listening to Toronto's only all-news radio station. This is 680 News. Well, parts of GTA will move into stage number 2 tomorrow, meaning that malls are getting ready to reopen in Durham, York, and Halton regions. As we hear from our Melvin Qureshi now, he has the details on what things will look like as people seek a little more retail therapy.
They've had their doors shut for almost 3 months, but come tomorrow morning, you can finally go back to the mall. God, I love the mall. It's where the stores live. While malls in Toronto will remain closed, some in the GTA will reopen their doors, like in Markham, where Markville Mall is set to welcome back shoppers. But in the time of a pandemic, you can expect to see lots of increased protocols. Upper Canada Mall in Newmarket will open tomorrow as well, but it's recommending you wear a mask. They'll have extra hand sanitizer dispensers, social distancing markers, limits to the amount of people allowed in elevators, no seating in the food court, which will be takeout only, and some stores will continue to offer curbside pickup. And while malls reopen tomorrow, some stores inside the plazas may take a few days before they're ready for customers. I'm Melvin Qureshi.
But we have some breaking news from the Upper Beaches, where a woman in her 60s has been taken to a trauma center after being struck by a vehicle. This happened around 10 this morning at Woodbine and Corley Avenues. That's just north of Kingston Road. Paramedics say the woman suffered injuries, but non-life-threatening.
And you're listening to Toronto's only all-news radio station. This, of course, is 680 News. The sunny stretch of weather continues as we go into day number 7 without any rain. Our meteorologist, Natasha Ramsahai, says the humidity will start to ramp up, and we could see a chance of some thunderstorms this weekend.
When we start talking humidex is going to be tomorrow. So Friday through Sunday, that humidity is going to make it feel like 35 to 37, and then still warm as we start off next week. But we're looking at some unsettled weather here as that heat and humidity starts to build.
And summer arrives officially on Saturday at 5:43 p.m. Today's guaranteed high, 29 degrees. It'll feel more like 33 when you factor in that humidity.
Well, as millions of people continue to receive federal aid, a lot of Canadians support the idea of a basic income. Let's get details from 680's Dean Rex Siebler.
3 and 5 are in favor of a basic income ranging from $10,000 to $30,000, but with suggestions it could cost anywhere from $15 to $90 billion. Some worry about who's going to pay for it all. According to a poll from the Angus Reid Institute, more than 60% say that they would support the funds coming from higher income Canadians, but as expected, those wealthier individuals aren't exactly enthused with the idea. Canadians are also concerned about whether or not a basic income would make some people less inclined to work. Earlier this year, the federal Liberals rejected a call from the NDP to turn the CERB into a universal benefit. I'm Dean Rex Siebler.
No, we're
now,
going to come on another
gas price update info says the price of gas will go up a penny at midnight to $1.02.9 a liter.
680 News Time, 11:40.
Rogers is working with over 150 hospitals across Canada, extending Wi-Fi coverage and raising donations for frontline workers to ensure the most important connection.
Okay, what can I swap this? So, okay, hold on. Camera. Left side, right side. And every time I look up, do I really look like it? Every time that screen freezes, I can't make the same face. I'm trying to. No, it's bad. No, see, I don't know if you're seeing the exact. I don't think. Whatever the fuck I'm seeing looks bad. That's why I don't believe it's just random. There's too many. When Facebook comes out and says, "Oh yeah, we were fucking with everybody," half of you got negative stories and half of you got positive stories. Like, oh really? I knew something was up with that. That shit would start happening. I put the fucking Oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shitty stories. I'm out of here. And I always use strange ways of spelling things and describing things. I don't think they understand what's positive and negative to me. Oh, come on. You can do this. Well, I'm going to turn this back on now because yours taking too long. It's not paused. Whatever. Well, this is not functioning. Okay. Please go away. So you were running. What the fuck? No, you weren't. 2, 3, 4, 5. You're not working at all. You're not looking for shit. If I click on this, can I go directly to it? No. Yes. No, the clock's not going to help because it's not. 42, maybe 44. What? No, that's yet. Real time. Hold on. Fuck. This is just fucking big. Why can't you just make a thing that works all the fucking time? The AM radio never gives me this much fucking trouble.
With sunshine, the guaranteed high 29 will feel like 33. For tonight, clear and 16, still comfortable for sleeping. Mainly sunny tomorrow, slight chance of showers, mainly north GTA. High 30 will feel like 34. For today, the guaranteed high 29.
Right now in downtown Toronto, we've got sunshine and 24 degrees. It's sunny. Perfect day to be out in the garden at a high of 26 out of Pearson right now. 680 News Time, 11:43.
Now the Scotia iTrade Market Minute, live from the Business Center. Here's Chris McCusker.
Well, Sarah, the Dow is really trying to move higher. It's still stuck in the red right now, down 65 points. The S&P is higher by a single point, the NASDAQ up by 15, and the TSX higher by 35, 15,463. So overall, modest moves. Price for gold right now is down $5, $17.30. Oil is higher by 80 cents, 30.76, and the Canadian dollar right now is down by 13/100ths, 73.59 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get started in 3 easy steps and begin your investing journey from home today. Learn more at scotiaitrade.com.
Hello, neighbor.
Hello.
Is this new fence to socially distance yourselves?
No, not at all. It's just for our dog.
Mm-hmm. And a new Subaru, I see.
Yes, again, just for the dog.
Uh-huh.
But we did add Subaru Eyesight Driver Assist, just to keep our distance at all times.
Visit your local Subaru dealer online for an incredible lineup of top safety picks with rates from 0.5%. Make an appointment to safely shop for an all-new Subaru today.
The government says your workplace must be properly sanitized before your employees return to work. But how can you be sure your workplace passes the test? Call the professionals who can. Canway Cleaning's disinfection services are proven to
ramp. It's situated in the right lane. Emergency services are in attendance. Then in Durban Central, be mindful of an accident scene at Charlotte Maclaga Street and Dr. Yusuf Dadu Street intersection. We then move on over to the N2 from Umhlanga, making your way to Durban. That's on the N2 southbound. Don't forget that we've got a stationary vehicle which is after the Umgeni Road interchange in the middle lane. And just to give you a bit of an update on the situation on the N3 to Pine.
So yeah, when things go shitty, the government doesn't have to tell the radio stations what to broadcast and give them money to prop them up. They just start paying for all the empty advertising spots, and then you get, so technically that's referred to as propaganda, government propaganda. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad or wrong. This is public health propaganda, public service announcements. And then you see these companies, the advertising companies are paying attention to what we pay attention to, because all these ads, that's something, all the same companies and the government get the same ad agencies. And the Subaru ad starts out with this fucking social distance bullshit and tricks you into buying stuff like it was an official government. See how they do, and then they get the capitalist interest back into paying the bills again. And they get to collect their 7% plus it for whatever the fuck it is. Like they keep changing fucking tax rates too.
We have a crash scene on the M3 to Pinetown before the Berea off-ramp. It's situated in the right lane. Emergency services are in attendance. Then in Durban Central, be mindful of an accident scene at Charlotte Macleige Street and Dr. Yusuf Dadu Street intersection. We then move on over to the N2 from Umhlanga, making your way to Durban. That's on the N2 southbound. Don't forget that we've got a stationary vehicle which is after the Umgeni Road interchange in the middle lane. And just to give you a bit of an update on the situation on the M13 to Durban, congestion is beginning to clear near the Old Main Road turnoff. However, recovery remains underway from this afternoon's accident scene before Tracy Watts Road. Pioneer Road, however, remains backed up with traffic, and that'll set you back for an extra 7 minutes. For the East Coast Radio Traffic Team, I'm Busheta Drive.
Report traffic now. Call 031 566 3534.
Starting in Maritzburg with an accident scene on Dr. Chotamutala Road near Forest Hill Primary School. Ensure that you are giving way to emergency vehicles approaching the scene. Then we got queuing traffic due to a stationary vehicle on the N2 southbound near the Umgeni Road interchange. The vehicle is situated in the middle lane. We then move starting in Maritzburg with an accident scene on Dr. Chotamutala Road near Forest Hill Primary School. Ensure that you are giving way to emergency vehicles approaching the scene. Then we've got queuing traffic due to a stationary vehicle on the N2 southbound near the Umgeni Road interchange. The vehicle is situated in the middle lane. We then move on over to Hillcrest, where we have a crash scene on Old Main Road and Cassio Road, and we ended off on the M13 to Durban. Unfortunately, there isn't any good news yet, as traffic remains backed up due to the earlier accident scene which took place before Tracy Watts Road at Fields Hill. Recovery remains in progress. For the East Coast Radio Traffic Team, I'm
Tweet at ECR Traffic.
Recovery in progress. Recovery remains our
on the N2 southbound from Umhlanga to Durban. It's after the Umgeni Road interchange. It's situated in the middle lane. Please approach the vehicle with extra care. We then move on over to the N3 to Pietermaritzburg, where we've got slow-moving traffic as we approach Cliffdale, and we ended off in the Kloof region. I'm afraid the backlog remains the same on the M13 to Durban from the Old Main Road turnoff. Recovery remains underway from the earlier accident scene before Tracy Watts Road at Fields Hill. For the East Coast Radio Traffic Team, I'm Busheta Drive.
Report traffic now to 33116.
Okay, so
says it's 8.5 minutes.
Dearest Jasper, obviously we are grown-ups.
Yes.
We pay taxes.
Normal.
Okay, yes.
Yes, we do. We 100% pay our taxes, but we have jobs and we have a certain level of emotional maturity.
Yes.
Okay. And obviously, okay, so dearest Jasper, obviously we are grown-ups.
Yes.
We pay taxes.
Okay, yes.
Yes, we do. We 100% pay our taxes, but we have jobs and we have a certain level of emotional maturity.
Yes.
Okay. And obviously, along with that, we, have great relationships that have evolved over time. And sometimes our friends excel at life. They have great moments, And we want to be those people who pay their taxes and have emotional maturity, who can cheer from the sidelines and be like, yes, my friend, I'm so proud of you. But there are moments where maybe things are not going so well for you, and even though you are happy for your friend, to try to reconcile your own upset about how things are not going so well for you, but you're super stoked for them at the same time, it can be a little bit tricky.
So like you jealous.
You went to school in Britain with the China girls, didn't you?
But you're happy for them at the same time.
Is that possible? Is that an okay thing?
Accents.
I think it's a human thing, and I think it's definitely possible. I wouldn't go so far as to call it like a frenemies thing, because it's definitely your mate, and you are happy for them, but at the same time, you're like, I wish that was me. I wish that was happening to me. Wow, so we're going to chat that in a bit to get honesty hour going.
Okay.
Because, no, you're not a terrible person. It is a very human thing. You are not a frenemy. It is very possible to be happy for your friend when they achieve something or they have some kind of level of success, and also jealous simultaneously because it's not happening to you. I mean, I would just like to get the ball rolling by saying there was a time when I was, let's call it, in between gigs. And my best friend had all of the gigs in the world. Like there was one day she was triple booked and busy. And
She was so excited because she was back on TV and she phoned me. I got the gig. And I was like,
Africa.
Chummy, love you. But what I'm about to say is not going to sound like I support this, but I am dying on the inside.
Oh.
I was like, do you think they'd notice if you sent me in? And she was like, don't worry, my friend. I know you're happy for me and your time is coming. And she was right. But the thing is, I have those kinds of conversations with my friends because I have no scum. JU?
I think there's nothing wrong with being jealous of your friend. I think just to keep it 100, like one of my friends recently bought a house at the age of 27. I'm older. He's 27. I don't have a house.
I'm fine with
But it's South Africa. Your
But
house
I'm happy,
disappeared
like,
and you
but
could
I'm
be a
like,
pain in the-
it should have been me, you know what I mean? But I feel like being jealous of a friend or like for a friend is like necessary because in some way that's like an empowerment thing because then you check yourself. You look at yourself and you're just like, ooh, I need to do better. Ooh, and you must surround yourself with people that do better than you. You know what I mean? So I look at it as a positive thing.
Yes. Talk about the upsell, and that is what we're chatting about. And hashtag Honesty Hour on Stacey and Jay Spoo. You know the drill. Now is the time to chime in with yours. No judges. 061-792-9495.
Have you ever been jealous yet happy for a friend at the same time? What's your story? Coldplay, Austin South up next.
That's what it is.
No, so I think people think it's wrong to be jealous. There's nothing wrong about being jealous.
You're a friend.
When a friend of yours is doing better than you, there's nothing wrong about that. I feel like it's okay. Like you got a magazine cover the other day, baby girl. I was like, wow,
that's great.
That's great, but like, I would love to get my own magazine cover. You know what I mean? Like,
Men's Health, if you're listening, please email JSPoo@ECR.ca. today. No, but seriously, okay, that's okay. It is Honesty Hour. People don't want to feel all kinds of honest. That's fine. We always have someone who will be. So roll sound, please, JSPoo.
There was a time when she had a boyfriend and he proposed to her. Like all public proposing, like he went down on one knee, engaged when he was like, will you marry me? You know, he hit her with that line, you know, will you be my wife? Will you be my queen? And I was kind of jealous because I mean my husband didn't do that to me, but I was also happy that she found a life partner for us.
Okay.
Didn't get the big public proposal. Okay, that's fine. We're happy, but we're letting it go. Who else we got?
See that he married her. He say, "Oh, you didn't marry me." Like what does it fucking take to?
We went for an interview for. There was the cabin crew for Qatar Airways, and not all three of us made it through. In fact, it was only the one, and my friend and I were on the short and the stubbier side, kind of didn't make through, but we were very, very happy for it. However, we were just so jealous. I still am so jealous.
Can you play the crickets now?
Okay, I should be able to play the crickets now. Let me give you the crickets because you want the crickets.
There's got to be something better than 3 minutes.
Is that is how this is going to go? Because we're not about being honest on a Thursday. We just want to go home and have a glass of wine. That's okay.
Hello, look, jealousy is part of being human. I know it's terrible, and I know it sounds ugly, but yes, I am not gonna lie. When somebody I know has like a really, really good salary or a really good deal, or whatever the case is, yes, I do get jealous. It's normal. If somebody's got this picture perfect lifestyle, I do get jealous. And you know what? It's okay for me to be jealous because that is human. Anyway, yeah, to all those people saying, oh, we don't get jealous. Yes, you're happy for the person, but that doesn't stop jealousy. That's always there.
Have you ever been jealous, but happy at the same time for a friend? Honesty Hour. No judgments. No judgments. Tell the truth. Yes. We're not going to judge you. We've both declared that we've been jealous of our friends.
As a human being,
yeah,
yes.
It happens. And sometimes it turns out to be a good thing because you look at it like, yeah, I need to do better. You check yourself. So we've got a couple of voice notes coming through. Who do you want to play first?
Just vibe.
Okay.
Is that this
and
WeChat or is
Jace,
this another one?
I remember growing up and seeing these girls, that love to party, been around the block, and then, bam, one day they find the love of their life and a man that worships them. Get married, have a lovely family. I used to be jealous of them. What about me? Don't I deserve that?
Yes, you deserve it. What about you? What about you?
Hey guys, I must say I'm not a jealous person, but I am very jealous of those people that have cigarettes right now because I don't have any.
No judgments. You're absolutely right.
See, because here's the thing. Kez, who we played a little bit earlier before Adele, who was like, I am a human. Okay, I'm a human. That is the truth. And once we had the crickets, because this West Upland was very quiet. Now it is flooded.
Yeah.
You see, I'm not suggesting that you run and tell your friends specifically, hey, listen, I can't deal with your success, because it isn't really about your friend's success. It's about your lack thereof. It's more about what's happening with you, and you understand that because you're a fully formed person. So you got to kind of go through the process. You got to work through it, and it's okay. We learn, we grow. I mean, someone sent us a beautiful message saying, at the end of the day, to covet anything that is not yours is an absolute waste of time. We know that comparison is the thief of joy, but ultimately we also realize that we're human and we're learning. And if you were ever looking for free therapy, I mean, guys, just listen to this show. Here we go. #Honesty Hour. We'll do it again next week.
Stacey and Jace, East Coast Radio. On FM, on the station app, and on DSTV channel 836. This is East Coast Radio. Newswatch.
A case of coronavirus has sparked fear among residents and families of those living.
On FM, on the station app, and on DSTV channel 836. This is East Coast Radio. Newswatch.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says it'll take a long time to recover from the economic loss and the impact of the coronavirus. Ramaphosa is busy answering questions in the National Assembly this afternoon in a virtual meeting that comes a day after he announced that level 3 lockdown restrictions would be relaxed further. Ramaphosa says at this stage they do not know what the full impact of the pandemic will be.
We're starting that recovery now, and it is important that we approach this with the balanced strategy that we've decided on, to save lives on the one side and also to preserve livelihoods. It becomes a very delicate balance, but it is a balance that has to be struck, because in the end, we cannot overemphasize the other at the expense of the other.
While it may be a virtual sitting, it hasn't been short of drama. The EFF interrupted the president's response, questioning why his background was showing a fireplace and not a parliament background as required from other members.
Your ruling is out of order. Okay. President, when he's in parliament, the rules of parliament applies to him. Don't come with that kitchen approach of favoring other people and not favoring other people. If he's not a member of parliament, Honorable Malema.
Deputy Speaker Lechisa said the
rules of parliament
EFF interrupted the president's response, questioning why his background was showing a fireplace and not a parliament background as required from other members.
Your ruling is out of order. Okay. President, when he's in parliament, the rules of parliament applies to him. Don't come with that kitchen approach of favoring other people and not favoring other people. Let me explain. Honorable Malema. If he's not a member of parliament, Honorable Malema. Rules of
Deputy Speaker Lechisa Tsenoli responded to the question, stating that Ramaphosa is not a member of parliament, so that rule does not apply to him.
You are breaking the rules. Nobody recognized you. Stop talking. Please stop talking. And honorable members in the House. You are going to put me in Paola, and there is nothing you can do. Honorable member, okay, you think there's nothing I can do. You watch the space.
The Durban High Court has responded after it was shut down for a day following a case of COVID-19. The closure stopped all cases scheduled to be heard yesterday. Lati Mncube, spokesperson for the Chief of Justice Office, says all necessary precautions have been taken and the court is now fully operational.
What we do is, if there's a COVID-19 incident, we obviously follow all the protocols. We have to afterwards, decontaminate and deep clean, which has been done yesterday and last night. So, yeah.
Moving abroad now, 7 Syrians who suffered or witnessed rape and sexual abuse in detention centers under President Bashar al-Assad's regime have submitted a criminal complaint to prosecutors in Germany. An NGO supporting them has said the 4 women and 3 men were held in various detention centers in Damascus, Aleppo and Hama between April 2011 and August 2013, said the European Center for Constitutional and Human Rights, a Berlin-based legal group. Our top story, President Cyril Ramaphosa says it'll take a long time to recover from the economic loss from the impact of the coronavirus. Ramaphosa is busy answering questions in the National Assembly this afternoon in a virtual meeting. For the Newswatch team, I'm Aiden.
On FM, on the station app, and on DSTV channel 836. This is East Coast Radio. Newswatch.
A case of coronavirus has sparked fear among residents and families of those living in a Durban-based old age home. The Association for the Aged, which houses over 2,000 elderly people, recorded its first coronavirus case within the facility this week. Chief Executive Famada Shamam says deep cleaning is underway.
We've had 30 people who have come forward and who's indicated that they did have some contact with both the resident and her husband. We will be undertaking screening internally. The Department of Health is scheduled to be on site. We have a few rooms that we have allocated as isolation rooms.
7 of the 8 suspects accused of looting VBS Mutual Bank of 2.3 billion rand have been granted 100,000 rand bail each in the Specialized Commercial Crimes Court sitting at the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court.
As isolation rooms.
7 of the 8 suspects accused of looting VBS Mutual Bank of 2.3 billion rand have been granted 100,000 rand bail each in the Specialized Commercial Crimes Court sitting at the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court. The court rejected their plea for the bail amount to be reduced. Magistrate Brian Nemabidi stated that the accused cannot claim poverty when there are allegations that they looted billions of rands. He ordered all accused to pay the bail money by 4 p.m. today or they'll be detained. NPA spokesperson Sipho Ngwenya.
We're almost ready to start with the trial. As you know, that the indictment was served today, and we hope that on the 18th we'll be able to raise or deal with any preliminary issues that are raised there. And also, the research that was done by the teams, very important critical evidence also was picked up in that process, which takes the investigation forward. So we are fairly content that after the postponement on the 8th of October, we'll be able to start the trial. So the state is as ready as it can be.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says it'll take a long time to recover the economic loss from the impact of the coronavirus. Ramaphosa is busy answering questions in the National Assembly this afternoon in a virtual meeting. It comes a day after he announced that level 3 lockdown restrictions would be further relaxed.
We're starting that recovery now. And it is important that we approach this through the balanced strategy that we've decided on, to save lives on the one side and also to preserve livelihoods. It becomes a very delicate balance, but it is a balance that has to be struck, because in the end, we cannot overemphasize the other at the expense of the other.
And the Mozambican court has handed jail terms of 24 years to 3 elite police officers and 23 years to another for the murder of a poll observer ahead of the national elections in October. Prosecutors last month had requested an exemplary and the Mozambican court has handed jail terms of 24 years to 3 elite police officers and 23 years to another for the murder of a poll observer ahead of the national elections in October. Prosecutors last month had requested an exemplary and severe punishment for the 4 accused of gunning down Anastasio Matavele, 58-year-old man behind the wheel of his car. Durban 20, PMB 17, Richards Bay 20. Our top story, a case of coronavirus has sparked fear among residents and families of those living in a Durban-based old age home. For the Newswatch team, I'm Ivan Naika.
Hey, what the fuck? Is my lip really... My lip really sticks out that far. I don't do that on purpose, and I didn't notice it until I started. Normally I take videos up there with my phone. I can't see myself, and the only reason I started using the backwards camera on this one, the front one, stopped working. And I dropped it, and it started working again. And I dropped it, and neither of them worked. I think I know why I found the phone on the ground. Nothing's free, right? Okay, either play or pause. Do something, please. Stop your upgrade errors. Website upgrade. Blah, 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 blah. What? Tired of site visitors finding upgrade? What are you talking about? Is that to trick me into installing your app? I gotta see about all that. Let me see this. Oh, geez, you need to check the. Why is there no sound coming from your sound machine? Please show me another ad. So I didn't save any time by leaving that tab there. I could just close that, cleared it. Probably got this done faster because it would have more memory. Show us another weird ad about strawberries or whatever the fuck you're growing, IBM. Technically, this time not working. Oh, red hat. Wow. Okay, can I get sound, please?
Hey, up next week.
Well, to the U.S. now, where a major loss in the Supreme Court for the Trump administration.
In a 5-4 opinion, the Supreme Court decided the Trump administration gave insufficient justifications for ending deferred action for childhood arrivals, President Obama's program to protect hundreds of thousands of young immigrants from deportation. Chief Justice Roberts said, "We do not decide whether DACA or its rescission are sound policies. Rather, he said the court only addressed whether the Department of Homeland Security complied with the procedural requirement that it provide a reasoned explanation for its action. The court said it did not, but left open the possibility the administration could try again." Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
But yesterday came the official word that the Rogers Cup will not be held in Toronto this year, so Sportsnet offering the next best thing, retro classics featuring Denis Shapovalov.
All this week, Sportsnet has been replaying the run by Denis Shapovalov in 2017 at the Rogers Cup. He made the semifinals that year. He even admitted he's been watching himself. This is last night's watch party of his win over Rafa Nadal.
Honestly, I'm nervous watching. Like, I'm all sweaty, like my hands are shaking. Like as if I'm playing the match again. I'm just like looking at myself. I'm like, man, I must have been exhausted.
For the full watch party, you can go to sportsnet.ca. Tonight at 7 on Sportsnet 1 is his quarterfinal win over Adrian Manarino. If old tennis isn't your thing, the USA against Puerto Rico in the 2017 World Baseball Classic Final, 7 o'clock on Sportsnet, followed by the semifinal of the 2004 World Cup of Hockey, Canada and the Czech Republic. I'm Simon Bennett.
Now the 680 News gas price update, and Pro predicts the price will go up 1 cent at midnight to $1.02.9 a liter.
Your home is your castle, your refuge, your safe place.
Our job at 1-800-GOT-JUNK is to make junk disappear.
And we're good at it.
Your home will feel bigger
and cleaner,
and you'll feel happier.
We promise.
Give us a call
or go to our website,
and your junk will magically disappear as our truck drives past your home.
Well, almost.
We'll be in and out before you can blink.
And our gloved professionals touch nothing except the things you want to disappear.
Not white glove.
1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com. 680 News Time, 1211.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by Friday Harbor. Heading westbound on the QEW, it's backed up from Winston Churchill to Ford Drive. Ongoing construction just west of Winston Churchill. The left lane is closed. And also heavy delays on the westbound 403. It's jammed up from Waterdown Road to west of Highway 6 North. That's where the two left lanes are closed for construction. So just
one right lane getting through that area. Westbound on the 401, it's in pretty decent shape right now, just a bit busy as you take the collector ramps to the 410 and 403 because of construction on those ramps. Eastbound on the 401, that gets bunched up from east of the 427 to about Kipling. Not too bad once you're east of Kipling. Don't forget about this paving work heading into Port Hope. It's there again today. Eastbound 401 east of Wesleyville to Toronto Road. 2 lanes are closed. It's only 1 lane getting through because of that construction. So traffic is jammed solid for about 7 kilometers. It gets heavy approaching the Port Hope en route, and then you're stuck in that backup all the way to Toronto Road. So bail off the eastbound 401 at Newtonville Road and take Highway 2 instead. Traveling southbound on Huron, Ontario, I just had a call from a traffic spotter saying southbound Huron, Ontario at the 401, it's partially blocked with a collision, so traffic is getting backed up southbound Huron, Ontario as you approach the 401. Also seeing a long lineup on the southbound 400 ramp to Finch, and that's because of construction westbound on Finch, west of the 400. Traffic is barely moving westbound Finch from Jane to west of the 400, so try to avoid that stretch of westbound Finch. Get away to the marina at Friday Harbor. Lakeside luxury like never before. Enjoy up to 2 hours of complimentary visitor docking. Friday Harbor, come for the day or a lifetime. Friday, I'm in love. And now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
Yet another day with lots of sunshine. Guaranteed high 29 will feel like 33. For tonight, clear and 16, and tomorrow, mainly sunny. Slight chance of showers, but mainly north GTA should miss Toronto. High 30 will feel like 34. For today, the guaranteed high, 29.
And right now in downtown Toronto, it's sunny, 24 degrees. At Pearson Airport, it's sunny and 26. A humidex of 29. 680 News Time, 12:13.
Time now for the Scotia iTrade Market Minute. For that, let's check in at the Business Center. And how are things looking, Chris?
Well, TSX is looking pretty good. It's actually the best performer in North America right now, Steve. Now it's up by 50 points, 15,478. That's a gain of just 1/3%. So it's not really saying much, although Wall Street is now modestly in the red. With the Dow down 112 points, the S&P off by 8, and the NASDAQ down by 2. Gold is lower by $6, $17.29. Oil higher by 68 cents, $38.64 a barrel. And the Canadian dollar down by 16/100, 73.56 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get started in 3 easy steps and begin your investing journey from home today. Learn more at scotiaitrade.com.
Now, see here, I know you're an expert on buying a car and all, and I appreciate that, I really do. But don't you suppose that maybe, just maybe, everybody could use a little help, like Jerry here?
Well, she told me it was easy. I went to OntarioCars.ca, and don't you know, I fell in love with a beauty.
See, look up OntarioCars.ca to find sellers you can trust. Don't worry, you'll do just fine.
How much money are you saving staying at home? No commute, no daycare, canceled summer camps, the vacation you're not going on? How about the money you save staying at home? You spend on your home. How about you take this unprecedented opportunity to finally finish the basement? Call before the end of June and get a huge freaking discount. This is on News Radio.
We got lots of sunshine right now in downtown Toronto and a temperature of 24. Good afternoon from the 680 News Broadcast Center. I'm Steve Roberts.
And I'm Sarah Parrots. Here are the top stories this hour.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announcing today a new national contact tracing app to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. The voluntary app will be tested right here in Ontario before being rolled out across Canada in the next couple of weeks.
Well, meantime, for a 5th straight day, Ontario has fewer than 200 new cases of COVID-19. The province is reporting 173 new cases today. That's the lowest number since late March. Health officials also say that more than 85% of those infected with the virus have recovered.
7 more regions in this province will enter stage number 2 of reopening tomorrow, including Durham, York, and Halton. On the list of businesses that can reopen, shopping malls. But anyone looking for some retail therapy will now have to follow some strict new rules.
For these stories and more, head to 680news.com.
Time now for 680 Sports. Sam from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Andrew Nye. Andrew.
Steve, he says it felt weird getting back on the ice for the first time in 10 or 11 weeks. That from Leafs forward Mitch Marner, who spoke today about the early stages of Phase 2 of the NHL's return-to-play plan. He feels good about the league's approach to resuming the season, saying, quote, I think they're going to do what's best for their athletes and making sure they're willing to look after us and take care of us. His teammate, Zach Hyman, will join Writer's Block this afternoon at 4. Will Leach of MLB.com telling Good Show this morning, baseball is always fighting, always doing something to upset the casual fan. But to see what they've been doing to their truest customers, it's been a pretty hard thing to watch. Major League Baseball has the framework of what it believes could be a deal, 60 games at full pro rata and expanded playoffs. The union says not so fast. ESPN reporting the Detroit Pistons have hired OKC executive Troy Weaver as general manager, while San Antonio has granted permission for assistant Will Hardy to interview for the New York Knicks head coaching job. And an update on round 1 of the RBC Heritage at Hilton Head. Canada's Roger Sloan is 1 under through 11. That is currently 5 shots off the lead, held by Ian Poulter, who is 6 under through 17. Already in the clubhouse, Matt Neesmith and Jordan Spieth, who both shot a 5 under 66. Sports 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
Ontario, you're making a difference to keep people safe from COVID-19, and we all need to continue our efforts to protect each other. Get tested if you're worried you may have COVID-19 or have been exposed to the virus. Practice physical distancing. Stay 2 meters apart. Wear a face covering when physical distancing is a challenge, and continue to wash hands frequently, inside or out. Stay safe. Save lives. Learn more at ontario.ca/coronavirus. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
Save the world. Wear a mask. All of us at CanadaMaskSupply.ca thank you for doing your part to protect yourself and those around you by wearing a face mask or face shield. Now we offer a family convenience pack of masks and hand sanitizer, and a commercial convenience pack that includes masks, hand sanitizer, and face shields, both value priced. Visit our website at CanadaMaskSupply.ca for all the details and to buy directly.
680 News Time 12:18. A scathing new book from one of his former top advisors accusing U.S. President Donald Trump of being guided by re-election concerns, especially when making national security decisions.
John Bolton says he's hard-pressed to come up with any important decision the president made during his time in the White House that was not driven by re-election calculations. He's alleging the president pleaded with China's leader to help his second-term prospects, echoes of the Ukraine affair that led to impeachment. The White House is working furiously to block the book's planned release next week.
They broke the law. They're very simple.
The president telling Fox News Channel's Hannity Bolton used highly classified information without approval, which in itself is a tacit admission that Bolton's allegations are accurate, since inaccurate information cannot be classified. The president tweeted early today, the book's full of lies, written by a disgruntled fool. Sagar Mangani, Washington.
Well, coming up in 60 seconds, we will have a look at the roads along with your extended forecast.
680 News Time, 12:20.
Celebrate the graduating class of 2020
with Grad Week on 680 News.
I'm Evelyn Macco of Humber and Seneca Colleges. Congratulations, class of 2020. All your assignments, early and late hours have ended, and what begins is you, cultivating your creativity and passion. Remember your enthusiasm of those first few days of class? Carry them with you every day of your new career. Remember to pay it forward with grace and humility, and always keep your eyes and your ears open, and never be afraid to ask questions.
Would you like to congratulate a graduate?
Radio Canada. Guess what?